morning, y'all, y buenos dias. So for today's video, I have my January favorites. So if you guys are interested in seeing what all I read and I watched, then keep on watching. Okay, so most of our monthly favorites are documentaries, books, and TED Talks. Basically all of my monthly favorites are those things. So if you guys aren't really into those things, then this is probably not the monthly favorites for you. But if it is, then you are in luck because I have like a million things to show you guys. So first I'll start with the TED Talks. So one of the most amazing TED Talks that I've seen this month is What If We Ended the Injustice of Bail? And with all of the documentaries and TED Talks and books, I'll put the links to everything down below so it's easy for you guys just to go and watch them. But with this TED Talk in particular, it was just kind of mind-blowing, the statistics that they were showing of just how injustice bail was. It was something that I hadn't really been informed on, and so I was so grateful to see such concise, clear information presented in a way that anyone could understand. And so I highly recommend you guys watching it, and there's an organization that goes along with it, and so they put the links to all of the pages as well on there too. The next TED Talk is Why Are Black Girls Targeted for Punishment at School and How We Can Change That. This is another really great one. Being that I went to a predominantly black school growing up, this was something that was almost more obvious to me, just being able to see that inequality that is given to young black girls in particular, being that they are seen as older, and being that they're seen as older, a lot of their acts are seen as more rebellious and more out there, and therefore they are punished more severely than their brown or white counterparts. And so this is another really great TED Talk that I highly recommend. The next TED Talk is The Biology of Gender, and this one I think is a really great really great TED Talk to send people who might not really know a lot about gender identity. I feel like it's a very good starting point for a lot of people who might just really not know. And so this is really, really essential for those who are trying to be better allies, who are trying to learn and be more compassionate. And so I think is an essential really to learn about gender identity and the background of all of these topics, because we can't really move forward without having that basic groundwork information laid. And the last TED Talk is How India's Smartphone Revolution is Inspiring the New Breed of Readers and Writers. And this one was so neat just because, again, this was something that I wasn't really familiar with, and so learning about it was really interesting. The speaker really explains just in detail how the new generation of readers and writers in India is coming up from the smartphone realm. So people are no longer needing to go get physical books or even getting ebooks, but getting fast, in the moment kind of information out there, which I really do see is going to be the future. Next section of favorites is my documentary section. And the first one is American Circumcision, which, if you guys are parents, guardians, if you are a man, a woman, basically anyone needs to watch this documentary because it's truly, truly mind-blowing. Coming from like my background, circumcision isn't a thing at all, so this was something that is something that I didn't really know or ever talked about until I was an adult, because for us Salvadorians, like, that's not a thing at all. It's much more of an Americanized thing. And so seeing all of the statistics and seeing all of the just rawness and realness that was in the documentary was really, truly mind-blowing, and I highly recommend it, especially for any expecting moms out there that are maybe on the fence or just wanting to learn more about circumcision. American Circumcision is something that you must watch, and this one is available on Netflix. Next documentary is The Root Cause, which my friend actually recommended to me. She texted me like in the middle of the night and she was like, you need to watch The Root Cause. And so the next day I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it. And so I watched it and I'm like, whoa. I mean, for me, it was kind of like when I watched like What the Health, or when I watched Food Inc. It was just like so impactful and so like in your face information. And with a lot of these, it's stuff that you already kind of know, but you never really like dug deep and thought about. And so this one is in particular on the detrimental health factors that come with the health of your teeth, and how the health of your teeth can dictate so many other parts of your life, not just like your oral hygiene. And so learning about it was super eye-opening, but also something, like I said, that I kind of already knew. Like I knew, like, you know, your teeth are important, you have your meridians and all of that, but like I guess seeing it and having all of these experts talk about it was just like in my face, like whoa. So right afterwards I was texting everybody like, oh my god, you need to watch this, it's so intense. So yeah, The Root Cause, also on Netflix. And the next documentary is called The Devil We Know, which is on DuPont's just atrocities throughout the years. And so they are a major chemical company, and they make everything and anything and all of the things that go into making other stuff. And so they were, I mean, it's stuff, like I said, that you already know about, all of the horrifying things that are in those chemicals and how we're breathing them in, and how like every child since like the 1970s has it in our blood, you know, like stuff like that. But it's just really good to know about these things, even though a lot of the times it's kind of almost impossible to avoid contact with these things. I mean, it is because we live in this modern world, but it's just super mind-blowing how these multi-billion-dollar corporations can be doing so much harm, not only to our physical bodies, but to our Mother Earth, and just literally just not give a damn. It's really intense and really disheartening and just kind of defeating after you watch it, which is why I know a lot of people, whenever I go on my rants about watching documentaries, they're like, but I don't want to watch it because I'm just gonna get sad. And it's like, yeah, but we also really do need to learn about this stuff, like, because it's the real deal. It's really going on. And I think it's just one really good documentary to watch on environmental justice, because a lot of these people are poor people who are suffering way more than, let's say, the upper classes that don't have to live in those toxic areas. So The Devil We Know, also on Netflix. And the last documentary is called Stink, and technically I watched this like at the end of December, but I really wanted to add it in here. And Stink is a documentary that follows a father who was trying to find what kind of chemicals were in his daughter's PJs because they had like a weird smell. And so after unfolding and going and digging deeper into all of this, he realized just how extreme the fragrance industry is, and just how toxic, and how they undermine our capacity to know anything about these chemicals. And so that was another really great one. If you guys have been watching me for a while, you guys know that I make all of my cleaning supplies and we don't really use anything with fragrances. So that was kind of just reassuring to me after I watched it, because I was like, good, I'm glad that I'm doing at least that. So yeah, and that one's called Stink, which is also on Netflix. I actually do have a couple of things that I wanted to show you guys. So I got sent these super awesome goodies from EK Bare Beauty. They are an Etsy page, and also I will put their links down below. But I got some mascara and I got some lipsticks, and this one is my favorite one. It's the hibiscus lipstick, and it's just so smooth, and it's such a like no makeup look, which is what I love. But they're a little zero waste makeup company, which is so awesome, and they're super affordable, because like that's like my biggest thing is like I love and want to support all of these really awesome like sustainable companies, but sometimes they're expensive as hell, and I understand, because you know their products have to be of certain quality and all of that stuff, but like I want to be able to actually buy them. And this is affordable and super high quality and zero waste. And so this is the little mascara pot, and it comes in a little tin container, and you just get like your eyelash brush, and you kind of dip it in there and do it. And I love it. It's so awesome. So awesome. And I did a blog review on it, and I'll also put the link to that down below as well. And now for books. So this month I got to read 9 books, and I'm super excited because if you guys had watched my previous like 2019 goals video, you guys know that I'm trying to read at least 75 books this month, and I'm at 9 for the month of January, so I'm on my way. And this is a combination of Libby app, which is my library app, which does both audio and ebooks, and my Audible subscription and physical books. So, and I'll put the link down below to how to read more, and I explain more on how I get to read as much as I do. So the first book that I read was The Magic of Tidying Up, which is so funny because I read that within like the first couple of days of the year, and then like a few, maybe like the next week or the next couple of weeks is when the show came on Netflix, and I was like, oh, synchronicity, y'all. I read the book, it came on Netflix, it was all me. And so I was so excited because reading the book, okay, so I've watched both the book and the show, and I really love the show, but I feel like the show misses out a lot on like the heart of it all. Like the show's good and it's really entertaining, but the book really has like the soul, and she just goes into, obviously because you can't really go as in depth in the show, but I highly recommend you guys read the book. If you guys do enjoy the show, you're gonna like love the book like 10 times even more, because she goes more into like the heart of like minimalism and the heart of mindfulness, which is something that the show kind of misses. And the mindfulness of it all is really at its core of how to live with less, but live with less and more at the same time, because you value those things more. So I highly recommend that book. I really enjoyed it. The next one is Killers of the Flower Moon, which was kind of mind-blowing. I live on occupied Osage territory, and so being able to read about them and being able to inform myself more on them was for me an essential, being that I want to respect the land that I'm on and respect the people whose land we are on. And so for me it was essential to read it and learn more about it. And it's kind of just like with anything else in our history, mind-blowing and gross and just shattered in horridness. But yeah, definitely a really interesting and powerful read. The next one is Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. Super short book, really informative, kind of cute. Like I really liked it. It was something, the title really says it all, Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. It just very concise, and it doesn't bore you with like super long explanation. It's for like the everyday person. It's not for, like, you don't have to be a scientist to be able to get it and understand it, which I really liked. The next one is Crazy Brave, which is written by a Native woman who just speaks about her life and speaks about her struggles. And I feel like opening up that narrative to Indigenous women is so important, and being able to hear their stories and their perspective from them, not from anyone else, is critical. And so I highly recommend you guys read that book. I was fortunate enough to get it on the library app. Next one that I read was The Diary of Anne Frank, which I had obviously been meaning to read for forever. I'm pretty sure we read it in high school, but I wasn't in the right mindset to be able to really absorb and understand the nature of it all. And so now reading it as an adult, I understood it on a level that I was never going to understand at that age. And so obviously a very important read. The next one was The Secret Life of Trees, and I got to listen to that on my Audible app, and I listened to it in like 2 days because it was just so good. It's something of magic, really. Like by the end of the book, it felt like almost like a fictional novel, just because of how incredible and how outlandish these facts are, because they're facts. Just how the trees communicate with one another and how parent trees will nurture their young. I mean, y'all, it's something, it's a must read, and it's so enlightening and so soft that I really needed something like that, because I like to read softer things in between, like more harsh, like factual historical books, so that I gotta give myself a little release, because if I only read like historical books back to back to back to back, I kind of get like burnt out on like the stresses of it all. And so reading that was so beautiful. Obviously we still gotta think about like deforestation and all that stuff, but it was really beautiful, very light and necessary. I really needed it at the time, and so I loved it. I absolutely loved it. The next one is The Alchemist, which you guys had recommended forever, and I had added it to my list. I have a big old list going of 2019 books that I want to get through, and if you guys have any more recommendation for any books, leave them down below, because I am always on a quest for a new book. But The Alchemist is obviously a classic. It was a very quick read. It's a very short book, so if you guys are trying to get in some super quick book, then I really recommend that one. The next book I read was Mind Over Matter, which is exactly what it sounds like, just talking about how our minds can literally create matter, like literally. And so I love books like that that really dig deep into our subconscious and just going into like what it means to be human, what it means to be aware, what it means to be awake. And so I really enjoyed that one. That was another one that I just sped through because I just really wanted to get to the next chapter and really wanted to get to the next one. The last one that I finished reading, which I finished yesterday, was A Very Large Expanse of the Sea, which, oh my goodness, y'all. My friend Nat gave it to me for Christmas, and pretty much like all of them, but this one, I read through it so fast, and one of the nights I went to bed at 11:30, which to me, that's like, it's like outrageous. But I just couldn't stop reading it. From a Muslim author, talks about a young girl in the midst of the post 9/11 time period, and so good. Just really puts you into the perspective of young Muslim women. And it was something that was really necessary for me because I like reading from different perspectives. And so having that, thank you Nat so much for that beautiful Christmas gift. I really loved it, and I'm going to share it with a bunch of people because it was just such a good read. So that is it for my monthly favorites. I'm really sorry if that was really long, but y'all already know that I really like my books and my documentaries. So as always, if you guys have any comments or questions, please leave them down below. Also, if you guys have any documentaries or TED Talks or books or anything that y'all want to recommend for me, please leave them down below. But I will talk to y'all later.